Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. All right, Jack Smith is back in the news as the Mar-a-lago documents case. Jack Smith went ahead and filed his appeal with the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, saying that Judge Cannon was wrong when she dismissed the case regarding the Mar-a-lago documents case. He said that she was mistaken in the ruling that the process used to appoint the special counsel was unconstitutional. And he's asking the 11th Circuit to reverse her order to dismiss the case and send it back for further proceedings. Midas Touch had a story on this. I was watching that earlier today. And basically, he didn't ask for her to recuse herself, or he didn't ask the 11th Circuit to recuse her from the case. He's asking for it to be sent back. This seems to be following a strategy. Again, Midas Touch was talking about this. I'm only repeating what they're saying. But it's true that of prosecutors, like Alvin Bragg, as another example, with regards to the New York criminal case, where Trump and his lawyers, there's some appeal, and the district attorneys or the special counsels are deferring to the courts to set the scheduling and make some of the decisions. One might argue that it's to try and prevent there from being biased, so that, Trump supporters will look at it and say the courts aren't rigged against him. It's kind of a fool's errand, because MAGA are so brainwashed that they always think everything's against him. So I'm not quite sure who they're trying to convince, but they're trying to convince somebody, it appears. In his filing, Cannon, let's see here for a second. Here we go. Smith lists 4 statutes passed by Congress authorize the appointment and funding of a special counsel's office. And, there's precedent for these authorities. There's a long tradition of special counsel appointments by the Attorney General. They've been doing it for 150 years, and they used it in the Civil War to prosecute Jefferson Davis for treason, amongst other things. Trump's lawyers have 30 days to file a response to Smith's brief. Smith is asking the 11th Circuit to schedule oral arguments, saying he believes they would assist the court's decisional process in this case of significant public importance. So let's go look at the energy now that he has, after Aileen Cannon dismissed the case with her chess move. This is now his chess move back on it with his appeal. We were expecting the appeal. The thing that seems surprising is that he's not asking for Judge Cannon to be removed. So let's look at that. Okay? Entertainment purposes only. Come on down. Let's see what we got going on here. 3 of Swords at the foundation. It's a betrayal of duty. It's her decision to remove the special counsel. It's a betrayal to law and order and the justice system of the United States. Again, 150 years of precedent just being tossed out. Yet Jack Smith continues to play by the rules even when Judge Cannon doesn't appear to be playing by the rules. The other part is, and Midas touched on this, was that apparently there's a judge school. Who knew? That teaches them really basic things about being a judge. And one of the first things they teach you is, if a higher court, like the federal courts, have ruled on something, you need to take that into account and honor that precedent that's been set. And she's tossing stuff out left, right, and center. Just truly, this woman, she must have copied off of somebody's driving exam when she got her driver's license for the judge exam. She must have copying off somebody, because apparently she didn't learn anything that you're supposed to learn. Yeah. And here's my Jack Smith card underneath here. It was a betrayal to the United States for tossing this case out. It doesn't serve the American people, because ultimately this is information of value to the American people as they cast their votes. Now, we will not see this case before the election, the way things are going. And, well, there you go. So the American people, it's justice delayed. And for this election, it's justice denied. That being said, as we get the crazy cat ladies in the background here, watching Kamala Harris soar and watching Donald Trump's campaign spiraling downward, we may not need the Mar-a-Lago documents case to really drive the point home to the voters that Trump is not the proper choice for President of the United States. Just saying, okay? And, you know, from a spirit point of view, maybe by not relying on this gives Kamala Harris and the supporters the more power. The rise of Kamala might come because of Judge Cannon's decision, is, I guess, where I'm going with it. In the past of the Queen of Wands, I don't know if I can't remember if this is my a card for Judge Cannon. I don't know if I have one for her. This is a balance between Judge Cannon, you know, just being out of her depth with this case, but it's also the other judges that offered to take this case from her and bring it to Miami, where a more senior judge could have presided over the case. They had a skiff there. It would have just logistically, it would have been easier. And for a top flight case like this, it would have made, it would have been wise to go that direction, but we didn't go that direction. Instead, we get Judge Cannon delaying everything and then dismissing it on the advice of Clarence Thomas. Current situation, speaking of Clarence Thomas, is the Nine of Cups. We have a diverging thing here. For Judge Cannon, she took Clarence Thomas' advice, a Supreme Court justice, to kick this case out. And that's what led to the heartbreak here. But Jack Smith, hello, is now, you know, appealing this to the 11th Circuit to get this ruling overturned as authored by Clarence Thomas and implemented by Judge Aileen Cannon. Overarching energy is the Five of Cups. Again, it's a disappointment to have this case, you know, first off, having everything delayed to pass the election. Justice delayed is justice denied. We're not fully denied yet. We got the appeal process. It's not over, but it's just disappointing to watch how corrupt our judicial system got because of who got appointed by whom and the blind loyalty that seems to go with that. The other thought with this Three of Swords and this Five of Coins could be the lesson that Judge Cannon learned from the first time she was working on a special master for Trump and ruling that favor, is she got her hand slapped hard, courtesy of Jack Smith, when he appealed her decision. And she's not going to give him anything. She's going to be his adversary for as long as she could be his adversary. Lesson to be learned is the King of Pentacles. I think there's some big money, and I know you guys will believe this in a second. There's some big money that's behind all this. And I don't mean with Jack Smith appealing this. I think leading to the dismissal of this case, there's going to be some big, if they investigate it further, they might find some big money. Maybe some bills got paid. Certainly this guy has bills that get paid by this king, but I don't think this is Jack Smith. You know, Jack Smith is the mature person with the values. I mean, it could be, but this is more my card for him. There's a lesson to be learned. It's like the American oligarchs that are asking for this case to be delayed, or, you know, making bad decisions so it gets tossed out, which might just make it delayed. I think this is all for them in their election, and them wanting Trump in there because they'll make more money. The outcome is going to be the Four of Cups. Now, this is a card of, you know, it's contemplation, but it could also be dissatisfaction. And for us, when I've looked at this, I don't look at this as, you know, in some ways, this is Jack Smith being handed poor decision after poor decision after poor decision, and here comes another poor decision. Do I think he's going to lose this on the appeals court? No, quite the opposite. I'm sure he will succeed it's kind of like, how many mistakes do I have to tolerate before I finally have to do something about it? And, I mentioned there were 4 mistakes in here, and here are your 4 mistakes that lead to this. I've got, after the 3rd mistake, I should have appealed type of thing, but, I've got to appeal it now because she's had so many chances, so many different ways to get this right, and she continually gets it wrong. And, is it incompetence or is it corruption? Or is it both? I don't know. But, neither one of them is good, right? If you're a judge, a federal judge, and you're screwing up this badly, that's incompetence 101 right there. And what's the worst thing in incompetence? You're doing it on purpose. That's bad and worse. Either one of them should get you removed from your position. The only difference is with the former, incompetence, you might gain competence through years of experience at different lower courts and such. For corruption, you should just lose your job and never be allowed to have it back. Because there's plenty of non-corrupt judges who could fill that seat quite well. There's no reason to be in the forgiveness business with this. Something was floating up on my light there. That or I'm seeing that or I'm starting to see the fairy orbs. I haven't seen any fairy orbs in my background recently. That was a big one too, whatever it was. Okay. Now that we got the general reading around this, Trump is he's gonna get 30 days to appeal. I'm assuming this. Let's see. Will the 11th Circuit Court take up this case? What's the energy around that 11th Circuit Court here? 6 of coins. Yeah, they're gonna take it up. Time to, basically we're gonna let the process play through. Trump gets 30 days to appeal. It's just kind of a minor thing. I honestly think this is going to be a really straightforward case for them to decide. Because it's not like it's 50-50 or 49-51 as far as, maybe, either one. It's not a boom-boom play where either person could be right. Cross with the Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups. Yeah, they're going to take it up. I imagine some folks on the court here, they'll have some strong emotions for it. The American public's going to have strong emotions about this. Jack Smith wanted oral arguments on this. It's going to be a very interesting court date. Underneath it all is the Page of Cups. And I think with the oral arguments, the court's going to want to find out, how do you even justify this? I'm dying to hear how you toss out 150 years of precedent. This ought to be entertaining. And when that's argument's going to happen, it's going to be so nonsensical, it's going to make the decision easy. And, for all the folks that are saying Trump's being railroaded, going through this process will show that it's not being railroaded, that, the appeals courts were applying the law fairly to him. You and I understand that. The crazy people, the flat earthers, the MAGA faithful, they'll never understand it. But it's a talking point you can throw at them that they will have no answer for. In the past, the Two of Cups, they've done this before. They'll do it again. They can see there's a problem in this court. Absolutely can see that there's a problem in this court. It's funny how problems in courtrooms always follow Donald Trump. Current situation of the Tower card. I don't think it's going to take them very long to make up their mind. This case ended suddenly with this decision, and I think a lot of those justices are like, I can't think of a good reason why she tossed out this case. Yeah, we'll hear what she has to say, but it better be darn compelling, because I don't think they've figured out why it got tossed out. Okay, we're back. Sorry, I had a phone call I was taking there. back to this reading. How's the appeals court going to take it? Overarching energy, Two of Wands. They've been expecting this case for a while. They're going to take it up. I really doubt there's going to be any issues with it. The lesson to be learned is the death card. Things are coming to an end. Again, with the precedent and everything else Jack Smith put out there, I do not see this as being the end of this case. What I see this being is the end of the shenanigans with this case. Now, what could be very interesting is that the shenanigans that might end because by the time this case is heard, Donald Trump may no longer be a viable presidential candidate or a viable political force. And if that's the case, there's no need to protect him. It would be really interesting to see Judge Cannon ruling on all the same stuff with Donald Trump not being a political force. Do you still rule and protect them like you were doing before? Or have you done your job and you're done and dusted and you can move on with this case like a normal judge would? In some ways, I'm kind of curious if Jack Smith's asking for her not to be recused is a little bit of a play this way. Like the before and after. Is she really a competent judge, or is she just incompetent, or is she corrupt? And what happens when you change some parameters? But that's just the scientist in me looking at that. Out comes the Four of Wands. Yep, it's going to be sent right back to that court. Will there be a new judge in there? Let's find out. But it's definitely going back. It's the end of the shenanigans. If I was feeling it, I could say, end of the case, end of the case, end of the case. Case is dismissed. Get over your feelings, you lost type of thing. But I'm not getting that at all. I'm not getting that at all. I'm actually rather optimistic with this case and its outcome. And I guess one of the things that gives me optimism with it is that this Court of Appeals has ruled against Judge Cannon before, and it was and it was like 2 conservative justices on that 3-judge panel that ruled against her and then body slammed her for the special master. With one of the appeals court's justices being appointed by Trump, something like that. I hope I'm not screwing up my cases here, but regardless, they've heard this before. They've ruled appropriately within the law, and if they've done it once, they are capable of doing it again. And, we need to have our faith restored in the judicial system. Certainly the Supreme Court has rocked our faith in the judicial system, and to the point where people were talking about judges in which president appointed them to the legacy media or mainstream media, corporate media reports it this way, and it's kind of like to stir up that division. And maybe not everything is lost in our court system. And we kind of need that. We need that safety net for our own sanity, lest we become extremely cynical. Okay? Will the appeals court overturn Judge Cannon's ruling and send this back? Knight of Swords. They're going to make their decision quickly. They're going to charge in. They're going to make their decision quickly. We got the Devil card, the Moon card, and the 5 of Coins. Yeah, they're going to make their decision quickly and ruthlessly. To me, it's like the decision's like, could you explain? We don't understand your logic. Why would you toss this case out and deny people justice? Because it sure makes it look like you're biased for the defendant. That's what this Queen of Swords underneath is. And, explain to us. We want to hear this. I think they're going to set this very quickly in the appeals court system. I don't know what quickly means. I will trust, Glenn Kirshner or Ben Meisalis or anybody else on Midas Touch to let me know if the appeals court sets this quickly or not. But I think the appeals court's going to come charging in here, demanding an explanation and being absolutely ruthless in there, because right now everything appears that you're doing this guy a favor and denying justice. That's what I see on there. And lastly, because, I know y'all want to know, Judge Cannon, is she going to be kept on the case? With the energy now, after the appeals court rules, or as part of their ruling, will they remove Judge Cannon, or will they keep her on? That's a important question. It's going to be interesting either way. You know what I mean? On the one hand, it'll be, if they just remove her, happy days, especially if they have a normal justice a normal judge who rules by the law. That's all we want, right? Don't need to have some Democrat judge to hang them all up by their ankles. We just want the law applied fairly to this person. But at the same time, imagine the humble pie as Judge Cannon is being watched over, and you're going to do the right thing, and sulking and having to do the right thing, muttering under her breath the whole time. How is this going to work? Will they boot her from the case? 3 of coins. Talking in the backroom negotiations, backroom deals going. This might also, one of the things by Jack Smith not asking her to be removed, it gives her the opportunity to volunteer to step down. Okay, I guess I'll step down, and these two are nodding their heads going, that's probably the best decision. No, we'll make it your decision type thing. 10 of coins, legacies, money. 8 of coins, more money in working. 7 of cups, page of coins. Will they kick her off? I think, look at all this money, all money and values. I think at the very best, will they kick her off? Potentially. Actually, no. I'm going to say potentially yes, but I only give it like 10-20% under the current energy. What I see happening is we're watching you really closely, and we're watching your performance. This is supposed to be a master engineer with the 2 engineers and the master bricklayer, the master stonemason. This master stonemason isn't a master stonemason. He's proved to be an apprentice. So now these 2 are going to watch this person like a hawk. It's like you've got another opportunity to do it right. It's a gift. This could be the offer. You could step down if you want. We're going to make that offer to you. Or you can stay on. But, there's this whole element of who are you working for? Can you do this case right? Are you doing it? Your legacy is tied to this. And your decisions are mind-blowing, mind-numbingly odd and unusual. Are you working for money? Is somebody paying you and it's causing you to make poor decisions? Or can you show us that you can actually work as a functioning judge? Because your legacy depends on it. Can we trust you? So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're removing her. I think they're going to put that decision on her, and they're going to phrase it in such a way that it's almost like being on probation or performance improvement plan. We're not firing you. We're just going to watch you like a hawk and document you everything that you do wrong. And if you don't do everything 100% perfectly, you're going to be out of a job type of thing. So it might be something where she ends up, resigning and taking a position at a big law firm because she's done the work that the oligarchs asked her and compromised her integrity in the process. Yeah. Or she could stay on the case and try and rule on it correctly. It's a little early on that one. I think I'm gonna we'll revisit this. That's the way I see it now. So what am I saying with this? I think they aren't going to demand that she step down. I think they're going to talk with her and suggest that she steps down, but the choice will be hers. Just realize that, this is twice now you've shown ineptitude and a lack of understanding in your position, and this could very well lead to your being reprimanded or even be removed from your position, or being impeached from your position, or whatever they can do on something like that. But again, as this gets closer to the appeals process and the appellate court gets this case, we'll revisit again, because the energy will shift at that point. And again, what happens if Trump's no longer even a viable candidate by the time it hits this? It changes the calculus tremendously. We'll leave it here. Again, this reading is for entertainment purposes only. I hope you found it entertaining and insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.